Again, get this in your head. Adam was not the first man that God made. Okay? Neither was Eve. Okay? That is why I've told you this. When you read Jeremiah 4, most especially in the Message version, they talk to you about a pre-Genesis chaos. I've told you this, that when you count all the years in the Bible, of the people in the Bible, they give you something around, we are in the 6,000s. Okay? All the years. And that is a theory that was introduced by a guy called Archbishop Asher of Amag. Okay? The theory based on creation. So we are going in our 7,000 what? Years. Okay? But through a new technology by science called carbon dating, you can actually get a piece of your bone and we can date how old you are. And it is accurate. Only that they are bones that have been tested and they are in tens of thousands of years. Okay? Meaning there is something that happened before what you see in Genesis. There is a gap between Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. Because the earth was void and without form. Where did the earth come from in the beginning? You get it, huh? God had created the earth, something had gone on the earth that made it void, and because God doesn't create that way. You understand what I'm saying? So that is why they are using words like go subdue and replenish the earth. Are we together? Why am I explaining all these things? They are crucial to today's study. Because we need to understand this thing called the Eden. So the garden was re-establish an order. Okay? That had been destroyed. Okay? Which order? An order of heaven. That is why, as well, I'm still saying this, but we are going to start to read scripture. Don't worry. Okay? That's why I told you there were people before Adam. Otherwise, you can't explain where Cain got his wife. And why they even explain that after he has killed Abel, the guy goes east in the land of Nod. And there he got a wife. The next verse actually tells you, and he got a wife. Eh? As in, for us, they've told us these two had 2 children and they were all boys. Then the guy leaves even their presence. Eh? And he goes there. You can't explain all those other people where they come from. The Lamechs. Eh? There is also a Lamech who did also sin like that of Cain. And is praying to God. Eh? So you can't explain all those things. Eh? There are people who were there. The devil had been in the garden before Adam came. I explained. For some of you who have not caught the first teachings, I'm kind of fuzzy. But I explained these things in most of the first teachings. Eh? Yeah. So I'm doing a recap. Eh? But now, and I'm saying this categorically because I know when God says words like, let's make man in our own image, in our own likeness. Okay? The difference that Adam had with the people outside the garden is for him, he had God's likeness, God's image. Okay? That is why, go to Genesis 5:3. You'll appreciate it. Okay, start from verse 1.
This is the book of the generations of Adam.
The generations of Adam.
In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God,
in the likeness of God,
made he him.
Made he him.
Male and female.
Male and female.
Created he them.
Created he them.
And blessed them.
And blessed them. Because they were male and female in one body. Remember at some point they get out another individual from inside him.
Yes.
And they put him outside.
Yeah.
So don't be confused with that language.
And called their name Adam.
He called their name Adam. There was nothing like Eve in the beginning. Their name was
Adam.
Adam. Go on.
There is confusion.
When they were still inside each other.
Yes.
Their name was
Adam.
Go on.
In the day. when they were created.
Yes.
And Adam lived 130 years
Uh-huh.
and begat a son
Mm-hmm.
in his own likeness,
Uh-huh.
after his image,
Mm-hmm.
and called his name Seth.
Remember, this is not talked about when it comes to Abel, neither is it said when it comes to Cain. This is the son. In fact, when they are counting, when you go on, when they are counting the generations of Adam, they don't count Abel anywhere. They start with Seth.
True.
Go on.
Verse 4.
Mm.
And the days of Adam,
Mm-hmm.
after he had begotten Seth,
Mm-hmm.
were 800 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he begat sons
Mm-hmm.
and daughters.
Uh-huh.
And all the
That
days...
is when now they tell us about the sons he begat.
Yeah.
After Seth, but before that, when you go back behind, Cain had already married.
Yeah.
Okay? Before this guy gives birth to sons and daughters. Okay? Understand these things. And it's a principle, by the way, common in the Bible. Sometimes the Bible will shed a particular light on someone that you almost think that individual is the only one. That is why I think Lot got confused and said, "Bana, I'm the only one left. Let me just sleep with the daughters." But there was Abraham on the other hill. He could go and get a wife. But he was in his own world. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a principle in the Bible. I'm going to show it to you. Yeah? But I'm trying to show you. Even here, there were already people who had been created. But here they are telling you, and Adam, they categorically tell you. So meaning this thing called image is a different thing. You have to understand it. When you say God in his own image, his own likeness, he's really speaking about people that carried the ability to reproduce God. Okay? In the earth. Here he's speaking about someone who carried the ability to reproduce Adam. Remember, Abel died without no hair. You understand? So the guy could not continue with that image. That is why actually even Eve in that scripture says, "Thank God I've gotten another one in the place of Abel, whom Cain slew." That is the word she uses. Okay? There are things like this, and you will understand them. For example, you might think Abraham was the only guy who knew that there is one God, who introduced monotheism. Right? Not so? Because the way the scripture is painted there, and sometimes the way we teach it, it's like, man, the guy everywhere was paganism. But then he meets Melchizedek. And Melchizedek is not just even some common guy. He's a priest of the Most High God, like of that one God he knows. In other words, he knows more. You get what I'm saying? It is a common thing. When they say Israel, my nation, it doesn't mean there were no other nations. God just singled out these particular ones. Are we together? And sometimes also what we've done also, we've over spiritualized Melchizedek. We think the guy was only spiritual. Yeah? But man, they are telling you that he was the king of Salem as if they are speaking of a physical place. And indeed it was a physical place, meaning this guy had certain people who knew him. That, oh, you know, Pastor Waf, he's a priest here. You get it, huh? They knew Melchizedek. This guy, it is possible that he's even the one who prayed to God so that God, picks up Abraham. You understand what I'm saying? Huh? So you have to appreciate the things that I'm teaching you. Sometimes when we read the Bible, sometimes we lack some kind of diligence. As we go on, by the way, in Scripture, there are laws that are introduced. Yeah? As long as, of course, the Scripture says that we have this treasure in what? In earthen vessels. Then he says, we know in part, we prophesy in part. So long as Moses was an earthen vessel, he prophesied in part.
Right.
Whatever you see in Genesis, deep as it was, there were parts he didn't know. Okay? That is why we are seeing in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. John says in the beginning was the word.
Right.
There are two different beginnings. This one's beginning is the word. This one, heavens and the earth. You understand? Then Ezekiel is saying